Hello, grammarians. I am Naini Arora, and you know what? Something really great happened early in the morning. And I was just flipping through my grammar lessons and my literature lessons. And since it's Monday and we have a grammar class today, so I came across this very interesting grammar topic, not a very heavy one. On a lighter version, I decided to present forward and bring to you this grammar topic. And the best part is this grammar topic had always been my favorite when I was in school. So right from class 1 up till my senior classes, every year my teacher used to bring this topic of prepositions, in her grammar class. And earlier I was like quite hesitant and not really interested because I found it to be a big name. The first day the teacher introduced this topic that, okay, we will be doing prepositions. So I saw that big name written on the blackboard and I was like, oops, something heavy is coming. But as I went into the details and just my teacher explained it to me quite well, I actually came to know that this is quite a simple topic but a very very important one. Without prepositions we won't be able to think about communicating it right. The word preposition, as we can see it on the screens, that it's divided in two parts. It's pre and position. So words which tells us about the position are called prepositions. So let's begin with this topic. But before we begin, I want to ask everyone a very, very important question, that have you ever imagined your life without language? Have you ever thought about it? What will happen if there was no language? We won't be able to communicate, we won't be able to express our ideas, our views, our concerns, we won't be able to talk with our teachers, our parents, and no one would understand our language. So in short, no language means no effective communication. Now let's go into the insight of the language, and discuss the topic of preposition. First of all, let's try reading out these sentences. He sat the chair, I threw the ball the fence, she lost her ring the beach, she was hiding the table, he sat me in the class. I guess none of the sentences make sense. There is something or the other missing here. And do you know what is missing? Prepositions are missing. As I told you before as well, that prepositions are a very important part of the parts of speech, in English language. And this is what we have to study today. Now, let's straight away come to the topic prepositions. So, I want to start with this thing by bringing forward to you a hamster. I really find this hamster really cute, and it's a hamster. I also bought a box with me today, and I placed the box behind the hamster. I know what do you mean by the word behind? Behind means at the back. So now I take away this box and I bring it under the hamster. So now I have the new position of the box, that is under the hamster. Now I take the box again and I bring it to a new position and I bring it in front of the hamster. Now let's see all the three positions: behind, under, and in front. So these are the words which are called prepositions because they are telling us about the box, which is around the hamster. Either it's behind, it's under, or in front. So prepositions are the part of speech that shows the relationship. Now it actually gives us a relationship, a connection between a noun or a pronoun with other words in a sentence. Sometimes it even shows a relationship with an adjective. Now let's take some examples. Now suppose there's a painting. Now there's a beautiful painting of my dog on the wall. So I say that there's a painting on the wall. Now, this girl Jenny, she's really good with her studies. So, someone told her that Jenny is very smart at her work because she gets A plus every time in her exams. New Zealand, and George lives in New Zealand. So George is my cousin who actually lives in New Zealand. So I say that George live in New Zealand. Now, if you see the first sentence, there's a painting on the wall. The word on. Now, on here, it actually represents a preposition and it gives a relationship between a noun with another noun. Now, here, one of the noun is the painting and another noun is wall. So it's giving a relation between a painting and a wall. Jenny is very smart at her work. Now, Jenny is a noun and it gives a relationship with smart, which is an adjective. George, it's again a proper noun. And George lives in New Zealand. So it gives a relation between a noun and a verb. And here the verb is lives. So prepositions are the words actually which gives us relationships between a noun with the pronoun, with the preposition, with the adjective, and so on. Let's move further. Now, there are some words written on your screen. Now, let me read it aloud. Above, over, on top of. Now, do you find something that is common in them? One thing that is common in them. You know, they all are talking about higher position or a higher level. Now, the level is high. Above, over, on top of. Let's deal with them. Let's deal with over. Over is a preposition which we generally use in our day-to-day life, but I generally, when I come across, children making sentences, I figure out, there's a problem. They don't really understand what is the difference between on, over. So here in this class, we are going to clear all those queries and doubts and, become perfectionist when it comes to prepositions. Now, first of all, I bought a box and I put a football in the box. So I say that the football is in the box. Now I take that away. I bought the box again and I threw a football over the box. Now here when I see towards the ball, it's actually flying. It's actually, covering a distance and it's actually going over the box. I take it again. Now I bought a fence. Now there was a big fat cow and she decided to jump. So what she did was she jumped over the fence. And then I bought a box again and a football again and I threw the ball and I threw the ball over the box. Now can you see here that all these the cow, the football, they are in movement. So we say that over can be used when the thing is in movement. When a thing is lying, suppose it's my hand and something is lying here. So I say that, a sweet is lying on my hand. But when something is in movement, we say that it's over. It's going over that. So here, over can be used in the movement. Now, if I take example of the birds moved over the city. So all over the city, the birds are moving because they are actually in motion. The numbers, very important. Now, if I have to say that, okay, fine, I arranged a party and I don't know approximately how many people would be there. And suppose it's a wedding party or a disco party, and I say that there are over 100 people in the party. So over is also used for numbers. And the third most condition is that it can also be used when we have to specify that we have to cover something. Suppose these days, you're being told that please put your hands over your mouth when you sneeze. Similarly, yesterday my mother told me, I was just yawning and my mother told me that put your hands over your mouth when you yawn. And so there I realized that what does the word over signifies. So over can be used in movement, number, and when we have to cover something. Now oh yeah, that's yawning. I forgot that. So over can be used as a prefix. Now here you can see a big fat boy who's actually happy because he's in quarantine and he has been eating a lot and so he's actually getting fat. So over is also used as a prefix if I write overweight. Now it's not here actually a preposition, but we are not going to confuse it with the prefixes. Now there's another word override. So this over can be used in a number of ways depending upon what idea we want to express. Is that clear? Now, let's talk about the word above. Now, above, if we see that, you'll come to me with the query that, ma'am, above also means like something which is on the top. So, as I stated earlier, all these words like above, over, on top of, this means that something which is at higher position, which is something, above. But, here in this word above, let's go about this thing. Now, there's a cat. She's sitting on the shelf, and if I say that the books are placed above the shelf, I have the books, they are placed above the shelf. Now here the books are not in motion, but they are placed at a higher level, that is on the shelf. I take another example. This example, now here's, you can see a man. Now here the man is sleeping above the table and his pet dog is actually sleeping below the table. So the man is actually a level above from the dog. So that is why we say that the man is above the table. I take one of more example. Now this a cute little cat. Now she jumped and now she's sitting above the box. So I say that the cat is sitting above the box. So the cat is sitting above the table or above the box, anything. So above, as already stated, is used with respect to the physical relationship, something which is at higher relation to something else, generally on the same plane. Now, if I take one more example, the sun is above the car. Now we have a car and the sun is above the car. Now, let's move further. Now, in the previous example, we took the example of this cat, a sweet little cat, and I told that the cat is above the table, which shows that they are on the same plane. They are on the same plane, that is a ground, but the cat is a little above. The cat is at a little higher level than the table. So that is why I say that the cat is above the table. Let's move further. Now, above is also used when we have to refer to, something. If I say that, okay, fine, I got my marks were above average. He's an above average child. He doesn't really study. One child doesn't really study well, but this child is above average. I don't know the exact number, but still I say above average. Suppose you had your exams and your exams went really pathetic, and you think that you're going to score a zero, and you come home with your result card that day, and your mother asks you, sir, what is your result? And you say that, mom, my marks are above expectations. I have actually scored good grades and they are above expectations. Maybe you were expecting something low, but it actually came a little high. So that is why you say that my marks are above average. Now let's come to a question, just brainstorm the question and you tell me that which out of the two statements are correct. It was 3 degrees above zero, or it was 3 degrees over zero. Now you take 2 minutes and just decide what's going to be the correct statement. Now here we are talking about temperature. That's a hint. Here we are talking about temperature in relation to zero. So the correct answer is actually going to be it was 3 degrees above zero, because we are actually going to talk about a level which is above zero. So this is the right one. Now guess the correct sentence. I get over 60 emails a day. Or it will be, I get above 60 emails a day. Think about it. I give you 2 minutes, just think about it. I get over 60 emails a day and I get above 60 emails a day. And I'm sure most of you have guessed it right. So with numbers, we use over. Remember this. So the correct answer is I get over 60 emails a day. When I discussed about over, I told that over is used with numbers. So I get over 60 emails a day, not the correct answer is over 60 emails a day, not above 60 emails a day. Now, one more example for you. If you weigh over the specified weight, then you may need to start a diet. Or there's another option. If you weigh above a specified weight, then you may need to start a diet. Now you tell me which one is correct. Again, 2 minutes for all of you. Just go through it. And when talking about above a level, I told you when we talk about above a level, now there's a specified weight. When you go above that, you have to take a diet. So the correct answer is the second one. So if you weigh above a specified weight, then you may need to start a diet. Now let's move on to another set of prepositions, that is on and on top of. Now these are quite simple, but we have to deal with this in depth. Now, when the thing is above a surface, if there's a table and I put a ball on the table, so I say on the table. The teacher is writing on blackboard. Please write it on a page. Please hang this on the wall. He is standing on the roof. You need to color on a map. Everything above a surface we use on with this. In class 1 we were told about all these words in, on, under, but here there's one more preposition that I would be discussing, that means on top of. Now for that I need to take an example, that there's a steeple on top of a church. Now a cross is on top of the steeple. Now if you see in the picture, now that's a church. Now there's a steeple on top of a church, and there's a cross on top of a steeple. So something which is on top of something, one thing which is again on top of something, we say that on top of. So let's study about this thing, that here on top of is used in reference to something. Touching generally have a reference of a surface. Here there was a church and there's a cross on top of it, so there's already a surface, and on top of it there's a cross. So that is the difference between on and on top of it. Now here you can see. Now let's come to in, on, and at. Now when we are talking about a specified time, we use at. If we have to talk about one specific time, that the thing is going to happen at that very time, we are going to talk about at. Now let's take some examples. Carol leaves for office at 8 a.m. So at exactly 8 a.m. she's out from her house, she's off for office. I don't like going out at night. Now here, that person is talking about only about a specified time at night. That person likes to go out in the afternoon or in the morning, but not at night. So that is why we've written at night. John is quite busy at the moment. At the moment, John is quite busy. Otherwise, he's not, but at the moment, he is. Henry left for the school at 16. I got my first job at the age of 25. At the end of the concert, there was a huge applaud from the audience. So at the end of the concert, there was a huge applaud for the audience. So when we are talking about time, any specific time, just remember one thing, we are going to use the preposition at. Now let's talk about on. Now on is also used with days and dates, something which specifies a date or a day, like her birthday is on 12th of March, on March 12th. I go to church on Sundays. What are you doing on the weekend? She will visit us on Thursday. We will meet on Christmas Day. If we see the last sentence, we will meet on Christmas Day. Now, if I had to use at over here, so I would have changed the sentence like, we will meet at Christmas. But here we are talking about the specific Christmas day. So I write that we will meet on Christmas Day. So on March 12th, on Sundays. Now these are all dates and days. So for days and dates, we use on. Next, we come to in. Now, in is actually used when we are talking about the months. We're talking about any year. We're talking about any season. It get dark in winters. In winters here, winter is a season. It get dark in winter, so we are talking about a season. We are in 21st century. So 21st century is actually a time period. The train will leave in a few minutes. Now, something that will happen in future, that will the train will leave in a few minutes. I learned to drive in 6 weeks. So 6 weeks is a time. He will return in a month. Now, in a month, he'll be returning. That means we're talking about a specific month. George was born in 1993. So here we are talking about the year 1993. Let's come to another most confused prepositions that are on and upon. Now, do you know what is the difference between them? Now, both mean the same. On and upon, if you actually, just think about it, they both actually mean the same. They can often be interchanged, but upon it is, has a more formal approach. When we talk about, now suppose I take two sentences. He depends on his mother for support. And another sentence is he depends upon his mother for support. Now, both the sentences are absolutely correct. But your grammar teachers or your English teachers will actually tell you to select the option number two because it's more formal in approach. He depends upon his mother for support. Otherwise, both are correct. Now we have some exceptions also that we'll be dealing with. Now, upon is used to emphasize a large number or amount of something. For example, mile upon mile of dusty roads, thousands upon thousands of letters. When we have to emphasize on a large number of things, here we're talking about miles upon mile, thousands upon thousands. So when we have to use or signify something which is in large amount or large quantity, we actually use upon. Now, there's a common idiom also that once upon a time, that when we have to begin with the story, we write once upon a time. So here, that's how the stories came into being, that once upon a time, upon, just think about how these prepositions are used. Now, let's come to in and into. Now, I have a sentence written. The boy dived into the pool. So now I need a pool. So I bought this very nice pool and it's summer season and the child is all ready to, just dive. I have a child. Now he knows swimming. He learned swimming last summer. So now this summer he's actually trying. Now he jumped and he dived into the pool. He made a movement as you saw. So the boy dived into the pool. Now here, the child dived into the pool. Just look at that. He's actually moving. He's not inside something, but he went into something with a motion. So here, when we talk about the motion, we talk about into. So the boy is in motion. Now let's come to the pool again. And I have a boy and he wants to swim. He's already in the pool now. He's already dived into the pool now and he wants to just swim. So how will I write? Now let's see first the child swimming. And then the boy is swimming in the river. So now it's a river, you can take it as a pool as well. So the boy is swimming in the river or in the pool. He's already there swimming in the pool and he's already there moving. Though it's a motion, but he's already inside. But in that particular case, when we talk about into, he's coming from outside to inside. So that means we write down into the pool. He dived into the pool. Now let's come to another set of prepositions, that is beside and besides. This was always a confusion to me when I was young. I never used to get this beside and besides ka concept. So one fine day I went to my teacher and I told her to explain it to me, and she explained it to me in such a beautiful way that I would be putting forward in front of you. That beside, that the one beside which is without an S, beside, it functions as a preposition, and its most common definition is when we talk about something that is on the side, जो हमारे side पर होता है, just next to us. I take an example. My best friend will always stand beside me. That means she'll be always standing beside me, मेरे साथ, next to me. The soldier had his pistol beside his hip. So the soldier is sitting, he's relaxing, and beside him, beside his hips, he has a pistol. So I write beside his hip. Uske saath mein. And then we all sat beside the fire and cooked tasty chicken. Now, we sat beside the fire. Here you can see the kids sitting beside the fire and they are cooking chicken. Now, when I talk about besides with an S, Besides, I can, see it functions both as an adverb and as well as a preposition. But since we are dealing with prepositions in today's class, so let's focus on that. As a preposition, beside is defined as in addition to, means something which is already there, and we have to add on to something that apart from this, this one is the case. So when we talk about in addition to or apart from something, when we're talking about, let me clear it out with an example. So besides the award, there was a write up in the local paper. The award was already there, but besides the award ke saath, there was a write up in the local paper. So there were two things. Award was also there and the write up was also there. No one besides the store manager can make that call. He says that no one other than, apart from the store manager, no one can make that call. So here you see the meaning. How is it, clearly it is justified from these two sentences, that one is meaning in addition to, and another it can also be used as apart from this can be done. Like apart from the store manager, no one besides the store manager can actually make a call. Besides your father, no one else understands where I am coming from. Besides your father, no one else understands, like apart from your father, no one else actually understands that where I am coming from. Now let's go on to another set of prepositions, that is between and among. Now very easy, when we talk about between, what do you mean by between? When we have something between the two, that I am sitting between one friend on this side and another friend on this side. But there's another way in which we can use between. Now, so I went to the supermarket and I found this very interesting and very nice red shirt over there. So I thought of buying it. So I was just going to the cash counter, but I immediately saw another shirt and it was blue in color, now, both being my favorite color. So I was like confused. And I asked myself a question that, oh my God, I can't decide between red and a blue shirt. So I was actually confused between a red and a blue shirt. Ki out of the two, I was confused between them, that which shirt should I buy. So then I was like all confused, and so I thought that I'll buy both. But then again, I went a little ahead and then I saw a lot of shirts over there. I had not been in that department. So when I went to the new department, I saw a lot of shirts over there. And now it began like, it was like too tough for me to decide, that I can't decide among these shirts. So I told to myself that I can't decide among these shirts. So did you see the difference between the two? When we have to talk about between two things, I want to select one, we use the preposition between. But when we have lot of things and we have to select that which one to buy or which one to take, which one to choose, I use the word among everyone. Let's take some more example. So here there are three bright young students sitting here. So Jenny is the one who's sitting in between. So Jenny is sitting between Ria and Shiv. Very clear, very, very easy and a clear sentence. Now we have four students here. And I say that the girl in yellow dress is the cutest among all the kids. So I want to decide who's the cutest. So the one who is like blushing a lot in the picture is the girl in yellow dress. I found her to be cutest among all the kids. So that is the difference between, oh, I said between and among. So did you see here? So between and among, I hope the difference is clear. Let's move on. So let's have another set of prepositions that are with and by. Now, what do you mean by with? With actually means that, when we talk about something which is accompanied by a person or a thing, if I say that Gabriel came with his elder sister to the inauguration ceremony. So there was an inauguration ceremony and Gabriel was invited. So he came with her elder sister. So elder sister was accompanying him. The next sentence is he entered the classroom with the good news. So he entered the classroom, but as he entered the classroom, but he brought a good news with him. So here we are talking about something accompanying something. Now, with is also used when we have to talk about possessing or having something, like if I possess something. Like she bought a white blouse with black stripes. So she bought a white blouse along with the black stripes. So that white blouse actually had black stripes on it. So it's showing us something, which we possess. George is happy with his life. Now George is having a great life. He possesses a great life. So he's saying that, oh my God, I'm happy with my life. So here, notice one thing, that when we actually do the active and the passive voice, with is generally used with active voice sentences. But by, sometimes it's used in passive voice as well. So with is always going to be used with the active voice. Now, by act as a preposition. Now, let's come to the by. Now, by act as a preposition, it acts as an adverb and it also acts as a noun at times. So the by can be a preposition, adverb, or a noun as well. The preposition form of by means proximity or nearness to something. Now, if I say that Elizabeth was standing by the window, so it was really sunny outside, so Elizabeth decided to stand by the window. So now here Elizabeth is standing by the window. So she's standing like near the window. When we have to talk about something which is near to us, or we are near to something, we talk about by. Then it is also used when we have to represent an act or means of doing something. Like she learned Hindi by just watching Bollywood films. How did she learn Hindi? By just watching Bollywood things. Now let's come to beyond. Now beyond as a preposition means, further away in the distance than something. This will be clear if I take an example, that the bicycle was beyond repair. The bicycle, I was riding a bicycle and it almost broke. Look what turned out of it. And I told myself that the bicycle was beyond repair, means dur dur tak I cannot just repair the bicycle. It was beyond repair. I take another example. The road continues beyond the village up into the hills. So the road continues beyond the village up into the hills. So even further away. Here we are talking about distance. We are talking about something which is far, far away. We use the word beyond. So now in this class, we've learned about a lot of prepositions. I've just displayed it on your screens. It says behind, under, in front, on, onto, in, into, between, among, by, with, besides, in, on, at, above, over. And now we have to use these prepositions correctly. We use these prepositions to make sentences. We use these prepositions in our day-to-day life, where we kind of use these words while talking, while communicating, and it's very important for us to make its correct uses. Most of the time we just don't even get to know the wrong usage we do with these words. So now I want you to just go about this video all over again. Just revise it once, just go through your notes and just attempt your work. Thank you. Have a good day, and we'll be surely meeting you in the next e-class. Till then, stay tuned, stay home, stay safe. All the best.